I think we'll go ahead and get started. I know people are trickling in. Joanna is out today. So for some crazy reason, she left it to me and Tino to run things. That's us. We're going to do that. And I just want to welcome everybody. And if you all can maybe hop in real quick and introduce yourselves. And I'm going to kind of let everybody do that because I can't see everybody. But I'm Chris Heinbach. I'm the Chief Advocacy Officer at the AT&T Performing Arts Center. And I'm on the steering committee for DACAC. And Charles, why don't we toss it to you and then you toss it to somebody else and we'll work our way through.
Charles Santos with Titus, also on the steering committee for DACAC. Warren.
Warren Tronquata, CEO of AT&T Performing Arts Center, and I'll pass it to Anne.
Hi, y'all. Anne Kogan, Director of Programs at DACAC. Nice to see you. And I will pass it to Andrew.
I'm Andrew here at Simon Center, and then also on the steering committee as well. I'll pass it to, has Chris gone already? Oh, Chris, Kiley.
We'll come back. There we are. Are we going to see you this time, Chris?
There we go.
Hey,
Buddy. Chris,
for those of you who are wondering at the last meeting what he looks like, now you see.
Golly, I look a little rough. I looked a lot worse then. So, hi everybody. Chris Kiley, Texans for the Arts. Happy to be here to give you all a report about some good things happening in the state. And Will Evans. See, I don't know you, but I see you.
Well, nice to meet you. I'm Will Evans. I'm the founder and publisher at Deep Vellum. I'll pass it over to Corey Moulton.
I'm Corey Moulton. I'm the production and administrative manager with Aurora.
Corey, we're having trouble hearing you. But we can hear you a little, so.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Sure. Now we can.
All right, yes, I'm Corey Moulton and I'm the production and administrative manager with Aurora. And I know my colleague right behind me, Joshua King, is also on the call.
And he's also called Corey Bolton.
Yes, that's really unusual. I don't know why.
Okay, who are you tossing it to?
I'm going to toss it to Liz Ware.
Hi, I'm an independent theater artist. I just interested in hearing what you have to say.
Great. And let's go to Carissa.
Hi, my name is Carissa, and I am also with the Salmon Center. And I'll pass it to, I think there's another Chris Denny.
Hi, Chris Denny with the Dallas Chamber Symphony, and I'm excited to hear the reports today. I'll pass it to Mr. Hector Garcia.
Hi, I'm Hector Garcia with AT&T Performing Arts Center and with the Moody Fund for the Arts. And I throw it to Lynn Richardson.
Hi, I'm Lynn Richardson. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Good, because I like an audience.
Said the dancer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an arts supporter, previously worked in the arts for Titus and other arts groups, and I'm delighted to see such a good turnout today, and I'll pass it to Tino.
Hello, everybody. I'm Augustine Jalomo, or Tino, and I'm Commissioner for District 1 for the Arts. I've been on the steering committee for a long time. I'm a musician, and I live in Oak Cliff, and I'll be giving an update on the Oak Cliff Cultural District soon. Oh, Jim. I see Jim.
Yes, I'm Jim Nugent. I'm Arts Commissioner for District 13 and involved with several arts groups. So, Lori?
You're muted.
There we go. I got here just in time. Thank you, Jim. Hello, everyone. I'm anxious to hear about all these important things that are happening. Thank you. Oh, should say I'm director of Over the Bridge Arts in Oak Cliff.
And I think we have one left. Is it Valentine or Valentine?
Valentine, yes. I'm Valentine Libertor, Institutional Giving Manager for Texas Ballet Theater.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
I think we hit everybody. Did we miss anyone? Oh, wait. Who's running the show for us up there?
Oh, Marika.
Hi, this is Marika with the Salmon Center. I'm running this meeting for y'all today.
Great. All right. She's the important one. Keep this on track. All right. Well, Chris, we're going to give you the floor and let you start with our news from Austin.
Sure. Hello again, everybody. And, you know, this is going to be one of our favorite DACAC meetings, I think, because generally I come here with all sorts of things I need you to be doing to make sure that we have money for the arts. And today I'm just here to share some incredible news with all of you. That as of Sunday, the budget was passed into law, and all of the money for the Texas Commission on the Arts that had been proposed by the legislature remained in the budget. No vetoes happened. So we are seeing a pretty incredible increase in the Texas Commission on the Arts. I think we're all aware of the challenging ecosystem that we find ourselves in. And we're going to see an additional $2 million for the Texas Commission on the Arts Cultural District program, and an additional $5.9 million for the arts organization grants. That's a very, very important thing, because over the last several sessions, we haven't seen growth in those arts organization grants. We've seen that growth more in the cultural district area. So to see growth in both is incredible. And to get the full exceptional item ask that we asked for in the cultural districts is also very exciting. That should put us at a point, although with Tino's news, it adds to the great growth of the hopeful growth of the cultural district program. But as the program stands with the requests for funding that they're receiving, that's going to fund cultural district grants at over 92%, meaning that they will be able to fully fund just about everybody who applies. So we are thrilled to share all of that. The museum censorship bill went down. The handgun bill, thanks to a lot of great work from a lot of the people on this call and around the state, never saw the light of day and died in calendars at the 11th hour. So all in all, we can say this is an incredibly successful Texas legislative session for us. I had sent out a letter from the field yesterday. Hopefully many of you receive our newsletters from Texans for the Arts that kind of laid all of this out and the work ahead. I think it's really important that as a field we take this great victory lap. We are one of very few states that is achieving this growth right now. I'm waiting for another report from the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, or NASA, that will be coming out at the end of July, from what I'm told, that will have preliminary projections for FY26. But I think it is pretty safe to assume that for the first time in our state's history, our per capita spending on the arts is going to put us into the 30s. When I started with this organization 9 years ago, we were 49th in the nation. And just before I started, I think we were at the very, very, very bottom, behind Guam and the other territories as well. So it's just a testament to how things can change over time when we roll our sleeves up and we commit ourselves to this work. I want to thank everybody here for the work during the 89th. It is an incredibly fast, busy season for all of us, especially us here at TFA. But the results speak for themselves, and we're on to the next challenge. You know, we want to take this moment of victory, but we also want to acknowledge we know that the National Endowment for the Arts is in a precarious position. We are working. I just got back from the Americans for the Arts convention that was held in Cincinnati a week and a half ago. There's a lot of national conversations about where we go from here. I was just found out before I got on this call, I'm actually going up to Washington, D.C. in about a week and a half to meet with Senator Cornyn and Representative Elsie. The next step is, as we go into the budget process for the NEA, making sure that those resources remain intact in our budget. So there's no rest for the weary. We are so excited about what's happened at the state, And now we're moving very quickly into federal budget season, and we'll be your state captain on that front as well. Happy to take some questions. Happy to give all of you a
Chris.
round of applause for the great work you do. Yes, Tino.
And this is different than SB 22, correct, for the film industry?
Correct.
They
So
have
that's a whole
their own bucket?
Oh, they got
Yeah,
a big bucket.
that is a whole different. Now, interestingly enough, I think the final number came out to be a polite 300 million over each year. So it's a little bit less. The original package was for 2.5 billion over 5 years with a B. They scaled that back, but they did do that both with the blessing of sort of the Dan Patrick camp that was fueling this initiative. And from what I understand, I haven't had a chance to sit down with the Texas Moving Picture Association, but everything from what I understand, they're very happy with where they landed. It's another incredible infusion of resources into the sector. And ultimately, I think it's going to have a huge impact on our legislative agenda as we move into the 90th, because as we continue to try to grow the state arts agency's resources, there are requirements for how they need to use those dollars to get those incentives from the industry, i.e. we need to have a lot of industry professionals who reside, live, and work here in Texas. So as these incentives start to roll out, our hope is that we'll be able to target some resources, the Texas Commission on the Art, for a lot of our friends in the film industry, whether it's our film festivals who get TCA grants, or I know Chris and your team here from the AT&T Performing Arts Center, they have that sort of Spotlight Dallas program. We're hoping that we can target growth to the TCA in the next session based on the good work that we're doing by deploying the resources we've just gotten for that as well. It's a different bucket, but also very exciting.
Yep. Warren?
Chris, as we go into special session, is there any rumbling you're hearing about things we thought died the first time around that might come back?
No. So the good news is at this time, my understanding, for those of you who might want a refresher on the way the special works, the governor sets the agenda for that special session from beginning to end. There won't be any surprises. Nothing that I've seen in the special session really is going to have anything to do with us. We always keep an eye on what's going on. But mostly right now, the special session is to iron out some of the different disagreements between where Abbott wanted things and where Dan Patrick wanted certain things. I think we're going to see the majority of that special session, ironically, I think is going to be arguing over whether or not THC will be legal in Texas.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is what we got, especially like with the handgun legislation, which was, very concerning on a whole bunch of fronts. But I think as they went forward and realized how badly, I mean, that legislation, and this again this was prompted by Dan Patrick, who was mad because the State Fair of Texas was scanning for handguns and not allowing people in with handguns, most people. And so he was ticked about that. This legislation was created to really go after that, but because it was not very well written, and the way that it was written is that if your venue is owned by a municipality but run by someone else, so the State Fair of Texas was running that at Fair Park, the city was not involved, they could do that. At the AT&T Performing Arts Center, even though the city owns our venues, the city does not have any day-to-day operations with us. So we're able to do that. But when they started realizing, oh, this hits places like the arts, this hits Cowboy Stadium because that's owned by Arlington. That hits American Airlines Center because that's owned by the city of Dallas. All of a sudden, this stuff started bubbling up and they realized they had a problem on their hands. And I think some of the quiet feedback we were getting was after this started unfolding, the governor kind of sent a signal that he did not want this coming to his desk. So the odds of something like that showing up in a special session, I think, are pretty low. And they're not going to throw something in like ticketing, which didn't even get out of committee, or some of the other, things. I think right now the other one they're looking at is, do they try to do redistricting? Because they're getting pressure from Washington to to do redistricting. Could that be tossed in or not? But I think he would like to keep it as closely as possible to THC. But Chris is going to be keeping an eye on that.
Absolutely. And
very
our lot Shannon's keeping an eye on it too. But to your earlier point, Warren, I don't see anything that is glaring. You know, generally it would be something I would be concerned about is if there was a whole area of interest the governor had on how we're using our hotel tax, right? That's something we would absolutely be, our ears would perk up. We'd want to be paying attention. The areas of interest i.e. the way that they're going to operate in these sessions right now, I don't see anything that's going to have a direct impact on us. Now, that's also not to say, you know, being in a biennial system, we're already thinking about the 90th, and it would not surprise me if some of the stuff that we dealt with is going to come back. Ironically enough, we had a pretty quiet session for the arts. We've had much noisier sessions where the TCA budget and the budget bill is always at the center of sort of the portfolio of work that we do at TFA, but all of these other bills are very important. And though the handgun bill kind of reared its head at the last minute there, there was a lot of capital from the governor's office spent on school choice this session. Their sort of hunger for addressing social issues, which is where some of the arts issues can become inadvertently lumped in, or there are unintended consequences that have an impact on us, i.e. the bathroom bill. There wasn't really the appetite for that kind of session from the governor. Each session kind of has its own life, and school choice really dominated the last 6 months. So it was really, you know, we deployed the tactic, which we often do to our benefit, which is if we can stay below the radar, make our case to the right people, good things can happen. And I think that's kind of what we found this session with the Texas Commission on the Arts budget. I also think that our economic data is getting better and better and better because the State of the Arts report that the TCT, the Texas Cultural Trust, puts out, Americans for the Arts is doing better research now as well. I think that with the AEP 6 coming out a little over a year and a half ago at this point, that data was really helpful. So I think we're telling our story economically really well. And I think we have to remember in Texas that there are certain things that work. And if we can show that we're a good ROI, that's always going to be to our benefit.
Any other questions? Chris, I do want to say thank you to TFA for choosing Dallas for their retreat this year. We always love having people and guests in town, and enjoyed hosting you all. So please extend our thanks to everybody on the board for coming and enjoying our hospitality.
Absolutely. We always love coming to Dallas. Chris took us to a very interesting art exhibition that I was pretty nervous about finding out that it was something about it was called like plane or flight, and I was really concerned because it was all in the dark, and I was worried I was going to simulate a plane crash or something. But it turned out to be a really, really great experience. That was great. I'll actually be back up in your neck of the woods at the end of next month. There's a preservation conference, and I've been asked to do a panel on the hotel tax for the arts. So hopefully we'll be able to find some time and spend in community with y'all up there in Dallas when I'm there at the end of July.
Wonderful. And Darkfield just left to close this last weekend. So you don't have to worry about simulating a plane crash. Or a seance or a
seance
coma.
was fantastic. The seance was really, really good. I enjoyed that one a lot. So
all right. Well, listen, thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate it. You're welcome to stay on if you'd like, but I know you're busy down there. So appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. I'm going to run to a 4:30 call, but again, I just want to echo, thank you all. You know, TFA, we are proud to sort of be the vanguard for this work, but there's none of this would happen without the commitment of our members and the field. And y'all in Dallas have one of the best coalitions of advocates we have in the state. And we just couldn't appreciate the work you all do on the ground anymore. So thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, since we've been talking about cultural districts, the cultural districts, if you don't know, this is a program that was set up about 8 or 9, might have been 10 years ago now, but it was a while ago. And what it was the state was designating certain areas as cultural districts. And the idea was to start generating interest and bringing visitors into those cultural districts. Dallas Arts District was one of the first. We were kind of grandfathered in as an existing district. And then in about a couple of years, in the next session, we were actually able to start getting funding for cultural district grants. And these are grants that are in those districts to organizations in those districts. Some cities have a lot of cultural districts in them. Dallas is up to 3. We've got Arts District was first, Fair Park was second, and no, Deep Ellum was second, and then Fair Park, kind of South Dallas area, that's third. Leading the charge to get us to number 4 has been Tino, focusing on the kind of the North Oak Cliff Bishop Arts area. And Tino, I think you've got, I know we submitted something, so why don't you bring us up to date?
Sure, thank you. So we have been organized for the past, I would say, 4 years. There is a very active group, I would say, of 16 plus. And we've gotten a lot of support, not only from our council, but from folks like, Visit Dallas and the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce, and everybody who has an interest in having our arts organizations who are based here or who program here in this defined geographical footprint, so that they could benefit. The different types of grants that they can apply for are programming. As you heard, that there was an increase of about $5 million in this last session, and an additional $2 million for the cultural districts. And so programming, and say you are the Turner House and you're a historic building, you want to apply for matching grants to fix the roof, then that would be something that you can qualify for. And so something that we've been very mindful to stress over and over and over again is that we're doing this for our arts organizations, really, because we want to see them succeed. We want them to benefit from these grants that are available. So let me show you. Marika, do you want to share or have me share my screen so I can show you what the map looks like?
You can go ahead and share your screen, Tina.
Okay. Do I probably have to accept or something? Okay, can you see my map?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You can?
Not yet.
Okay, so here in the yellow,
Oh, we don't see it
is
yet.
the little streetcar that
We
is
can't
over
see
at
it
the-
yet, Tino. We can't.
Oh, sorry.
see it yet. Hold on.
Let's see. Maybe I have to get some notification that you want to share.
Make him a co-host, and he should be able to
You
share.
are a
I
co-host.
think I'm a co-host.
When you hit share, you click on the screen, and then there's a little share button on the bottom.
Gotcha. Okay, here we go. Sharing the map now.
There we go.
Okay, so pretend you're over here in downtown Dallas at the Eddie Bernice or the Omni Hotel, and you want to hop on the streetcar. That's the yellow line. It's taking you over Trinity, bringing you all the way down to the start of our Oak Cliff Cultural District, which is at Zhang and West Davis. So you get off there and you can get to the other end of the district in about 27-minute walk, or 30 minutes, depending on how fast you walk, or you can get to the south of our cultural district, to 12th Street in about 12 minutes. Again, depending on how quick of a walker you are. So the purple here, everybody thinks Bishop Arts District is some huge district, but the proper name is the North Bishop Avenue Commercial Historic District, and that's in purple, okay? Over here in this fluorescent teal or turquoise is what's called typo, and it's the Tyler Polk corridor that David Spence has developed some historic properties, and it's retail, restaurants, and some bars. And then you keep going here to the red is the Winnetka Heights Historical District. And this is very important to the Cultural Districts program because they want to see community support. They want to see that artists are living there. They want to see that there's a vibe for a nightlife or a nighttime economy. And they want to see that the arts are thriving. And so with 16 established nonprofit arts organizations here, and about 3 who program, we are definitely established. So this red here is the Winnetka Heights, and over here on Rosemont is where the Turner House is. And the Oak Cliff Society of Fine Arts manages that home. It was willed to OCSFA. They are our management entity. So much in the same way that the Dallas Arts District started off of Downtown Dallas, Inc., we are starting off of Oak Cliff Society of Fine Arts. We had to have a CDME as that nonprofit arts organization that was established for a few years with certain revenue. Then you go down south on Rosemont to 12th Street. This carve out here makes it look like somebody's speaking, right? It's one of those conversation bubbles. It was important for us to go down there because Casa Guanajuato is here, and it's one of the oldest civic / community organizations. It's a partnership between Dallas and Mexico, and so they have a lot of programming. So the Posada is one of the oldest in the area, and then the old Oak Cliff Cultural Center at the Ice House, which was one of 7-Eleven's first ice houses, is there as well. And then there's a median with some public art by the city of Dallas that is right there. And then you come back up and go back on 12th Street. And of course, you get restaurants like La Calle 12. You get the Texas Theater on Jefferson. You get our Oak Cliff Cultural District. You get the Bishop Arts Theater. You get Julia Alcantara's Flamenco Fever. Their studio is over here. The Writers Garret is officing in Bishop Arts Theater. We've listed Fair Assembly and Laurie Soderberg's group and Javery's group as doing programming here because as they do more programming here, we want them to be as eligible as the 16 established. So that's the Oak Cliff Cultural District. We submitted our application on Monday, June 16th, by the 11:59 deadline. There was a cultural plan that had to be included. We had to have letters of support. We had to have a marketing plan. And we wait until September when they award and see if we will be recognized, as Chris said, the 4th cultural district in Dallas. But this could not have been possible without the community support. And what got me organizing all of this was I kept hearing different groups of people talking about the idea. And so what I did is I just made the connection and I brought everybody together. And it is a lot of work. It doesn't end just because we've submitted our application, because if we get approved, we got to keep working. If we don't get approved, we need to rework and figure out, where did we go wrong? What were we short in? So yeah, that's where we are right now. So we just wait. It'll be a long summer for us. Any questions? Oh, there was a video that was half of our application points. So we need to show that if you can, Marika, and then I'll take questions.
Great.
Place in Dallas, where live performances of music, theater, dance, and poetry happen nearly every night of the week. A place where you can dine in Michelin-listed restaurants and experience moment-making public art. There are art galleries, bookshops, and record stores, 2 historic theaters, and a boulevard that bumps with pride.
Hi, I'm Avery J. Andrews, and welcome to Oak Cliff.
Founded in 1890, Oak Cliff prospered across the Trinity River from Dallas, with then record-setting bridges connecting the neighborhood to the city by streetcar.
Today, Oak Cliff is a thriving mix of history, culture, and momentum.
We've been producing award-winning work here in Dallas, Texas for over 3 decades. Now we're located here in Oak Cliff, and it's absolutely a wonderful place to be. There's an intersection of culture and art that's unique in the nation, unique in the state, and we're so proud to be here with the diverse demographics that make up this neighborhood that we call home.
The Oak Cliff Cultural District, the footprint of it has a stronger literary presence than anywhere else in the state of Texas. And you can really feel it the way that the community is coming together to support writers and poets and get the larger public excited about the literary arts. I mean, we've had Javier Zamora, we've had Joy Harjo at the Texas Theater. I mean, she's a literary rock star. We're just doing incredible stuff here.
Food is culture. What drew us to Oak Cliff almost 15 years ago was the community, its diversity. There are so many different places down here, different food cultures, restaurants that opened decades ago to things that just opened last month, where you can go and share a meal with friends and family. This is just an exciting, vibrant community, and we're so lucky to have been a part of it over the years.
One of the most important aspects of our film festival is that we are a neighborhood film festival. It's communal. We are trying to bring people to Oak Cliff. We are trying to bring people to experience the neighborhood and visit the local businesses and restaurants and venues and theaters.
When we're able to bring filmmakers to Oak Cliff and they can see this vibrant community here in Dallas, it's just so rewarding to hear that they want to come back again and again.
One of the key components of our festival are the educational workshops. These workshops are hosted at the Oak Cliff Cultural Center and are designed to teach the vocation of filmmaking.
I grew up here in Oak Cliff and still live here. I'm a poet and an arts educator. One of the things that I love is that the arts here are not just for adults. There's tons of things that go on for children and teenagers as well. Kids get to experience that firsthand just almost every day. One of my favorite things is that it's everywhere you look. The energy that you see, it's like the arts are alive here in our district.
From the beautiful, shady residential streets of Winnetka Heights, to the sizzle and spark of the restaurants and shops in Bishop Arts, to historic Jefferson Boulevard and its mix of commerce and culture, Oak Cliff has a little bit of everything.
When doesn't Oak Cliff have something going on? And I think that's part of the secret. You might stumble upon a street festival, a film premiere, an art opening, a restaurant walk, and a car show, all in a week.
We love Oak Cliff because of the local neighborhood, cool community, and awesome places.
Hi, my name's Kathy Cruz, and I love Oak Cliff.
I love Oak Cliff because of its sense of community. Everyone can fit here no matter who you are.
Soy de Oak Cliff, and you know what? I love Oak Cliff because mi familia brought me from the bottom to the top.
There's just nowhere else like it. From theater, to film, to the literary arts, to food. You can't get it anywhere like you can in the Cliff.
So that was the video. The video makes
Wow.
50% up and the application is
job.
50%. Thank you. Thanks to everybody who worked very hard. And I have to say, you know, as you get into the history of this, you know, Oak Cliff used to be its own city. And Frank Ray and Medellin, they started the Creative Arts Center. I mean, that was the foundation there. And also they started the Oak Cliff, Frank Ray and 19 women of Oak Cliff founded the Oak Cliff Society of Fine Arts. So, you know, we're very different than the DAD. We're different than Deep Ellum. And so people are already coming here. Why not have our nonprofit arts organizations benefit from the lowest hanging fruit? So I want to thank everybody who worked on this, and we'll let you know the moment we find out. Any questions?
No.
Oh, sorry, Lynn. I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tino.
Thank you.
Tino, I have a question. I know that one of the stumbling blocks for a while has been because all these cultural districts, they have to have an organization that is administering it. Dallas Arts District does ours. Fair Park First does their parks. Deep Ellum Association does Deep Ellums. What did you end up kind of landing on there?
Sure. So we actually submitted our letter of intent January of 24, because we were told that we could develop our own organization as a nonprofit, and that was incorrect. So when they received our LOI, they scheduled a conference call only to tell us that a CDME that met a certain criteria, right, number of years, revenue, had to be the nonprofit arts organization. So we looked at a few, and after one fell through, Oak Cliff Society of Fine Arts came through, and they decided that they would take us on, because if you've been following OCSFA in the past 2 to 3 years, even 4 years, their programming has become more reflective of the diversity that's found in that footprint. And so it was a no-brainer. They were very happy to do so. Patrine has been very supportive, and we've worked with them, presented to the board several times. And so we landed with OCSFA, and it was submitted under their as their management entity. But before that, we did get our nonprofit arts organization certification. So we've just been raising money kind of like on a soft, quietly rollout. So yeah,
Great.
we're on our way.
Congratulations. That's a big
Thank
step.
you.
And the video looks absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
They're
or
crazy if they don't add us.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So no more questions there. Thank you, Tino, for that. We're going to jump to budget. They had a budget briefing last week, and you probably saw that there's a $36 million shortfall, which, stepping back historically, that's always what happens, okay? You end up going through all the budget meetings, the town halls, all the things that have been leading up to this, and then before they go on a break, the council, and this year we've got new council members. So that was the first time they've been hearing a lot of the budget stuff. But they get this budget briefing, and then the city manager will come back in August, and they have to present a balanced budget. It cannot be unbalanced. It's got to be a balanced budget. So they will come back with that. And amazingly, they always do. So it's not unusual, and we've had bigger holes to fill when the budget was much smaller. So I'm confident they'll do that. We don't know, there's no breakdown on the different departments. We've kind of been hoping to get a little more insight, and we're still working on that from the Office of Arts and Culture. But the one thing we do know is that we will be getting to the full 15% of the hotel occupancy tax. Today, they voted to renew Visit Dallas's contract. So if for some reason they had changed their mind, they would have told us, but they have not. So we'll be getting that. But that only makes up about a little over 1/3 of the OAC budget. So the rest of that comes from the general fund. And we're going to have to, work very hard to, try to make sure that stays, that it doesn't shrink. I don't think we're going to see growth, but I'm hoping it will not shrink. And I haven't been getting any, warnings like better be prepared for bad news. So we'll see on that. And Jim, you're on the Cultural Affairs Commission. I don't know if you have any better insight on that. So please jump in if you do. One of the things that I did think was interesting, though, they also presented the results of a survey. And this was a survey that was done, trying to remember, it wasn't that long ago. And I know we put a call out for people to participate. And I'm going to share here. And can you see that? I think you can. All right. So this was the survey again. I think it was done in late April, early May. but and I know a bunch of people responded, and this will also tell you why it's so important for people to respond to these. Um, so again, this is done by a group that has a whole bunch of peer cities. So in some cases there was some comparison to peer cities around the country on how we were doing, and this is basically a customer satisfaction survey. And let's see. This is what we care about. So this is the major categories of city services and asking people in Dallas how we're doing, okay? And what was really exciting was the really strong response when it came to arts and cultural programs and facilities. Now, some of us may say, well, wait, we don't think they take very good care or whatever. But the reality is, when most people are looking at arts programs and facilities, they're looking at the things that are going on and the arts and the culture that are happening around the city, in particular city facilities. And if you look at that, I mean, that's 87% of 1 or 2, and 2 is good, 4 is excellent. That's a really big amount. And so we're like number 4 on that list. Okay. And then if you add in some that are fair, that takes us up to 98%. So we're doing well out there in terms of what we're delivering, in terms of serving our community, serving the city, according to this survey. And so I think we feel really good about that. And then also, let me get to the next page. And again, looking at the trends, how does that stack up? We're right where we have been. If you look over here, 87% was this year. Last year, we had dropped to 85. The year before, we were at 87%. So we're pretty consistent, and which again is a good thing. We're consistent in terms of delivering services. These are things that we can turn around and really talk about at the upcoming budget town halls. Okay, and that's where it's going to be important. Because especially with the new council members, they're hearing, oh, we just got to cut. Is this important? Well, it is important. And people think we're doing a good job. Now, here's where we kind of stumble a little bit. And that's on what the priorities should be. There, we're way down here. We're at 11% arts and culture programs and facilities in terms of what they think the top priorities should be. Okay. Now, we're not very far behind Parks. Parks is at 16. We're ahead of library.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and let me tell you what I think's going on here. Number one, everybody knows our streets are crap. Okay. So we know that's going to be at the top. And crime is always a concern, public safety, and when we're reaching out to our boards, everybody, getting them to take these surveys, if you want to game the survey, all you do is click on arts and then you don't do anything else. But most people will do that, and then they'll do the streets and the police. So it drives those police numbers up. So even Parks fans, if they put Parks first, but then they want to talk about the streets and want to talk about, public safety, it's going to drive those numbers up. So it's hard to take a lot from this, but clearly, we'd love to have that number higher. Okay. But we go to the next one.
Chris, this is also all based on the data set is skewed by those that have replied and participated in the survey, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's where I'm also kind of brings back the good news. When you're looking at this matrix here, here's the place you want to be, here's the place you don't want to be. Or rather, let's see, this is the place you don't want to be, because that's kind of the lowest. We're up here, and this is a good area to be. We're exceeding expectations, which means we're all doing good jobs delivering arts, delivering culture to our community. So I think, that I think is a good selling point. Again, it's all, bottom line is we still to the town hall meetings. They're going to start in August. The nice thing is more and more of these are going virtual, which is, I know for a lot of us, it's a lot easier than driving out to Reverchon or driving down to Camp Wisdom or something like that. It's great when we do it. And when we do it, it actually has a bigger impact because they know you made the extra effort to do that. But just the fact that you're getting on these calls and letting them know. And what I do, it's always a little harder when you're virtual, because it's like a council meeting, right? You can come in and attend the council meeting virtually. They have no idea that you're sitting there at home at your office with your little arts button on. Okay. They can't see it. So, what I do, and what we encourage everyone to do, is when you are in those town halls and it's your council member, text your council member and let them know you're watching. Then they know you're there. So, just little things like that. But we really do need you guys to show up, and we'll get talking points for everybody. And especially once we actually see where we land in the budget. And in many cases, it may be just reinforcement saying thank you for holding the line and not using us, because we know when budget gets tight in a lot of cities, and it used to be here, we were the first ones cut. Well, we're not anymore. And that's because we're loud, we're noisy, we're squeaky wheels, and we're also proving and sharing our value. And that's what's important too. We talked about the AEP6, that study that was done, the last economic impact. Well, the other one's coming up, and it's going to be so important, even more important that we get on top of that and really make sure that everybody's doing the studies, that we're hitting up our customers, our patrons, time after time, not just once, but every time they come in, and really driving those numbers and getting those numbers up. So maybe we can beat our best, which was just before COVID. And we had incredible numbers then. So hopefully we can beat those numbers. And again, show the relevance. And the city invests a lot in the arts. If you look at Fort Worth, they barely put any money into the arts there. And it shows. They've got some great museums, they've got some great mid-size, but they don't have nearly the size and the scope and the diversity of the cultural ecosystem that we have in Dallas. And we have that, I believe, because the city continues to invest in that. So we'd always love to have more, but I'd say if we can keep working to hang on to what we got. Warren.
Yes, sir.
You got your hand up.
Nope.
Oh, I see a little hand up there. Oh, that's my cursor. Never mind. Sorry. All right. Anybody have some questions on the budget? Again, we'll know more in August when the city manager comes back with their balanced budget. And, we may find out a little bit more. We may get a little hint from Martine where they're headed. But again, I haven't been getting any dire warnings to prepare for bad news. Which I think is good news.
Chris.
So we'll keep doing that. Yep.
So one of the things that I found interesting is back when our council member had a budget meeting, it was the same evening that Visit Dallas had hosted World Cup exploratory, or, here's what we're thinking about for the arts and culture community. And the question raised to Visit Dallas was, well, do you have money to encourage all the nonprofit arts organizations to activate during a time when they're really not, in season, which was the June, July window. So when I went to the budget hall meeting, I made the comment and I asked if the city of Dallas was going to raise some more money for the arts organizations to program during this World Cup time. And the answer I got from a budget person, from a representative from the budget, was yes. But I have no other confirmation. It's never been presented at our meetings. So I was wondering if anybody else had heard about that.
Well, here's a few things that I know. Okay. I know in the arts district, we are working to do kind of 4 big events over the course of World Cup. And we're kind of trying to tie these to games, right? So if there's a game happening, we don't want to be on the game night, but we want to be adjacent. Okay. The Perot's doing something one night, and a lot of us are building on things we already do. Okay, so we're not making a big expense. So Perot kind of, they have their big happy hour thing that they do. So they're kind of enhancing that. And they're also I think they're doing a thing on the whole science of soccer, the big exhibition. So they'll be doing something on that. Clyde Warren Park, similar thing. I think next year, the 4th of July is actually on, is it a Saturday, I think? So they're going to tie it to the 4th of July event and do something there. Um, who else am I
Dallas Arts
forgetting?
District. Dallas Arts District is doing something on Juneteenth in Pride. The block party?
Yeah, they're doing the Pride thing. And then we're also doing one on the kind of the performing arts side. And that will be actually kind of squeezed in between. There's a game one night, I think it's a Thursday and a Saturday, and then we've got a Friday doing the party. And Warren, I may be wrong on that, but we've got it kind of sandwiched in there. And that will be more performance focused, oriented, doing stuff like that. And then Charles is working on something, and I don't know if you want to get into it at all, Charles.
We're hoping the same around the same time or the same day that APAC is doing theirs. Titus is going to produce a festival of OAC-funded artists, visual, music, dance, and spoken word, using all of the Moody, the lobbies and everything. Our goal is for it to be free and open to the public. It'll run all day with exhibitions and salons and whatnot. But we're just in the early planning stages with the city to make this a reality. But we will be focusing on not just dance, but dance, spoken word, visual arts, and music.
So, I mean,
And then,
but you
and then my
you also
understanding is there's some other groups are planning some things at some point during that FIFA period, because we've got a long period and we've got a lot of games. So there's a lot of different things bringing people into Dallas, and we don't know who they are. So I think we're trying to showcase Texas work, our work, stuff like that, as opposed to try to guess, geez, should we focus on Mexican culture, or Brazilian? We don't know who's going to be here. We don't know what games are going to be here. So I think the focus is kind of showing off the work that we do.
right, but Visit Dallas is also trying to activate in those non-D8D areas, for example, Oak Cliff Cultural District. And so one of the things that we asked them, aside from the budget, was when we do something, when we plan something, are we, are we going to have the community, meaning Dallas Arts District, ATPAC, Deep Ellum, that we're not planning something on the same night as somebody else, right? Because that would really be
right. No, Christina is kind of Christina's engaged in all of this, so I think Christina is watching out for all of that to make sure that we're not doubling up on top of each other. Doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but I think she is working to make sure that it doesn't, that things get distributed around and that things get the attention that they need, and I think that's going to be a big part of it too. We all have a lot of challenges because we'd love to get sponsors in on this, but as you know, like for instance, who is it? Is it Verizon is a FIFA sponsor? Well, what does that do with AT&T? It was a big, so we've also all got challenges with that. I know from our standpoint in the arts district, a lot of the things we're doing, we're not tying ourselves. We're not calling it FIFA. We're not calling it World Cup, so that we're not tied to their sponsors at all. We can do our own thing and get our own sponsors without having to get our hands slapped or sued by them. Warren, did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's accurate. Yeah, I know the Arts District is being very intentional about coordinating our free activities so that they can be so that we're not counter programming each other. And Charles made the point of wanting to be on the same day. That's intentional to make that set of activities coordinated, but we were careful not to put stuff on game days and the like of that. And Visit Dallas has taken a pretty active role in trying to promote everything happening in the city with respect to the arts.
We're hoping when it gets really hot, people will walk over to the Moody and come inside and participate in the festival there. So we're going to be working with Warren's team to make sure our programming is cooperative. And before Chris, Danny, I saw your posting. Make sure that you're doing your hotel arrangements now, because you won't be able to have them. You won't be able to get hotels in the summer.
We worked that out already.
Oh, good.
Yeah, with one of our hotel sponsors. So that was a big concern for us once we knew about the FIFA dates. So thanks for mentioning that, though.
Yeah. It's
that's a very good point. We lost a conference for that reason, that they just couldn't get good hotels for the number of people they had to come. And yeah, but there'll be other opportunities offsetting that. I think there'll be a lot of corporate events happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's the World Cup period, but there's also the period leading up to it too, when you've got so it's actually ends up, we have a lot of people here for a long time, which is good now that we're at 15% of the hotel occupancy tax, because that means a bump. But we also know that the 2 years after are going to be low because they're tearing down the convention center. So that was part of our pitch, was we need that 15% now, because OAC can sock some of that away and spread it over the next 2 years. But anyway, that's kind of what's going on with that. So it's a lot of fun. And thank you for bringing that up. Does anybody have anything else? It's 5 o'clock. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Tino?
One more thing. So the Office of Arts and Culture is always looking for panelists to serve on the grants reviewing panels. It's a really great opportunity. You get to see what the projects being proposed are for Arts Activate, get to see what the COP grants are looking like. But it's a great thing. And I put in the registration link and the flyer that they just sent out today. Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, if nobody has any more questions, I can't remember if we're doing one next month or if we're taking a month off.
Yes, we do have one next month. They'll be in person at the Salmon Center on July 30th at 4.
Okay, we'll have wine and potato chips.
Yeah, it's on the website already if
Ritz.
you'd like to RSVP.
Ritz crackers. Come on, Chris.
All right. Good enough, everybody. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye.
care.
Thanks, Marie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.